snow forms? I'm going to talk to my daddy about that. Hi, I'm Maya the Science Kid. You probably heard my Bedtime Stories podcast. Sometimes when I'm driving to school and back, I have questions that I want to ask my daddy. You can listen to some of those questions in this podcast. If you like it, please let your friends know so they can listen too, and visit my website at mythesciencekid.com, where there are lots of science videos and book reviews too. Daddy?
Yes, Major.
How does snow form?
Snow. Well, be careful walking in the snow right now. Snow forms by, you know how rain is made, right? How's rain made?
Rain is made by the clouds. The clouds are just basically water. And then when the clouds are so full of water, because they're all water, it drips down water, which is rain. Or to us, rain.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's all I know about rain.
See the sound that makes? That's kind of fun sound, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So snow is very similar to rain. It definitely comes from clouds. And it depends on what type of it depends on what the temperature is from here all the way to the clouds. So
Okay.
depending on the type depending on what the temperature is on the ground and at the clouds and in between, you can get rain or you can get snow or you can get hail or you can get different things. There are different types of snow.
I've been in hail before.
Yeah. There are different types of snow and all these are called precipitation. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a big word.
It is.
It is a big word.
You know, what does it mean, precipitation?
Precipitation? Wait, evaporation? Oh, precipitation. It's basically 1/2 of the water cycle. Precipitation.
Okay.
It's when things go down, snow or rain from the clouds or hail from the clouds. Anything that comes down from the clouds. That's precipitation. Evaporation is when water goes up from the sea. And that's how the clouds get their water. And if it gets too much, it rains again, goes into the sea evaporates again, and it keeps going, and that's kind of what the water cycle is.
Yeah.
So I just explained the water cycle.
So so precipitation is when something that is mixed with something else comes out of that something. Like when you have, for example, a lot of salts in a salt water. Okay. And then you add some more salt in it. Some salt, extra salt, precipitates out of that salt water to the bottom of the salt water. It just falls out. It doesn't mix it anymore. So so precipitation is when for clouds is when the water that's in there, that's in that mixture of air and water, that's cloud. Okay.
Okay.
If there's more water there, all of a sudden that water can't stay in that mixture anymore. Then it comes out. It precipitates out. Now, when it precipitates out from the sky, it falls all the way down because of gravity. So that's why anything that falls out of the sky from the clouds is called precipitation, because all water precipitation out of it. Because our clouds are water clouds. Now, if we were in a different planet, when we had clouds...
As in Jupiter.
Yeah. And then we had like methane cloud or cloud of something else. Cloud of some other gas.
It would rain something else.
It would rain something else. Yeah.
It would snow something else.
Right. Or like if it's liquid, we would call it rain. If it's solid pieces of solid thing, we would call it snow. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way
Or it would rain something super hard, and that would be called raining ice.
or raining diamonds. That actually happens. In some places, there's so much carbon in the atmosphere they have that some carbon precipitates out, and it's gonna be some carbon precipitation. I think I don't know. I read an article, so I have to read it more carefully to see if that's exactly
Daddy,
happens. Yeah.
in my camp, I don't know which one it was, but in some camp I went to for summer camp last year,
Yeah.
they would say, it's raining diamonds. It's raining diamonds. But I don't know who was saying it. All I knew was people were saying it. I heard it. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I tried to see it, but I couldn't.
The diamond raining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they
Well,
just.
not diamond raining. Like, who is saying it's raining?
Okay, so back to clouds, back to snow. So if it's really cold up in the ground, and it's really cold in the air, and it's really cold by the clouds, then we're gonna get nice fluffy snow coming all the way down. Okay, we're gonna get snow that is. The little water droplets come down. As they're coming down by the clouds, they sort of clump together. They make a little fluffier water, fluffier snow. Yeah.
Have we talked about clouds? I mean, fog?
No, not yet. Well,
I think we have.
yeah. No, you mean in our podcast? No, we haven't talked about fog yet. Let's talk about fog in like a minute, okay?
Okay.
So if you have, for example, frozen ground but warm air, okay,
Okay.
and then up to the clouds is sort of warmish, then you get rain from the cloud. Then what do you get? Rain from the cloud comes all the way down, hits the ground, freezes on the ground. You get
Ice.
You get ice. You get freezing rain.
Which is ice.
Well, yeah, I mean, we call that freezing rain. And then we get
the same thing.
Yeah, we get black ice basically. It's called black ice because it's not like people
Black
don't know.
ice?
Yeah.
Why is it called black ice?
Because it's not very visible.
Oh,
it's
so
on the
it's kind
ground.
of like dark?
Yeah.
And it blends in with the concrete.
Yeah.
I've seen black ice.
It's okay. So now let's try something else. If you have warm ground, okay,
Okay.
and warm air, but very cold air by the clouds, then you're gonna get something that is,
Like hail.
yeah.
I think.
So you get something that is like snow precipitation from the clouds, okay,
Yeah.
comes down, but then warm air.
It just melts when it gets to the ground.
No, actually melts before it gets to the ground. So it gets
so
warms
you
a
get
little bit.
rain. It's basically
So
rain.
it might be rain, but it depends. Sometimes it gets to be rain and it just comes down because clouds are cold anyway around the clouds. But sometimes it's not enough. It doesn't come all the way down. It just comes down a little bit, and then the warm air usually rises, and the warm air rises again. So they come down a little bit, they melt, they go back up a little bit, they freeze again, but now they've clumped together. They're not like a snow. They don't look like the regular snow that has like nice edges and all that. They look like a little clump of ice, and it comes down as a little clump of ice. So sometimes you see snow that is little clumps of ice, That is because it's melted in the middle of the process.
I get it.
It hasn't snowed. It hasn't come down all the way from the clouds very nicely, slowly. It's come down. It's melted. It's refrozen again, and it comes down.
I never knew that.
But
How
then
do you go
sometimes,
fast?
I don't think we can make this light. Maybe we can. Let's walk faster. But then sometimes it snows very nicely, fluffy snow. It's because it's cold all the way from the clouds to here. And then if the ground is warm also, then the snow, when it comes to the ground, then it sticks on the ground and gives us nice fluffy snow on the ground. But like yesterday, it was warm on the ground. And it was cold in the air. So it snowed, but nothing really stuck.
So it just melted when it landed.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So snow, the different type of snow you get depends on the temperature from here to the clouds. And then why you get snow is the same thing, the reason as why you get rain. Okay?
Okay.
So that explains rain and snow. So we want to talk about fog now?
Yeah.
Okay, so fog is when
It's basically when we have low clouds. And then low clouds are basically rain clouds. So rain clouds, and then the rain clouds come down just a little bit. So we're all in clouds.
okay. Let's think about it from when we were talking about precipitates. When we were talking about precipitation or something precipitates, let's think about that for fog. So what is cloud? Cloud is water vapor
Right?
that is in the air. Now, if you have a lot, usually in the air right now, we have some water vapor, and we have some hydrogen, we have some oxygen, we have some
Things that we breathe.
lots of nitrogen.
We have things that we breathe in.
Yeah, we have some
And things that we
CO2.
breathe out.
Yeah, so we have all of that, but we also have some water. Okay.
Right.
Now, if you have a lot of water, then it would be like a cloud. When we have lots of water in the air, all in the one area, that's cloud. It's concentrated water, like little water droplets that are suspended. You understand what suspended is?
No.
It means like not falling down. Suspended in the air. Okay.
Daddy, the
Yeah.
snow that I was just feeling feels hard on the surface. You can stick your finger in the you can stick your finger in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Except it's hard on the surface. Like if you put your fingers back up, you get a layer of ice.
Yeah, that's
on the
because
top.
why do you think that happened?
I don't know.
Well, the surface of it used to be all like nice and fluffy, and then the surface of it has melted, and then refrozen again. So now the surface is harder ice, and then underneath is nice fluffy snow still.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let's see. So when you have a lot of moisture in the air, you get cloud.
Okay.
Now, if you have a lot of moisture in the air that suddenly appears in the air, then you get fog, because usually you don't have fog. Fog sort of comes and goes. So how do you get lots of moisture suddenly in the air?
I don't know.
Well,
I think
You-
that doesn't happen.
it does happen. That's how we get fog. But the way it happens is the moisture is there, but the temperature drops all of a sudden for a section of the air.
Well, the temperature can drop all of a sudden, but the air, it can't. That doesn't make sense.
Well, if it gets cold somewhere,
Right?
okay, cold air can't handle as much water in it. Can't have as much water. So if you have colder air, it's like cold anything. If you have salt water, and if it's colder salt water, there's less salt you can dissolve in it. You can put less salt in it, and if you put after a certain amount, it precipitates out. And if you warm up that water, you can actually get some of that precipitated salt that comes out from the coldness of the water, But when you warm up the water, some of that still dissolves in the water. So warm stuff can have more, warm water or warm air, they can have more things dissolved in it. So if the air is warm, then there's a lot of moisture in it. And then if the air gets cold all of a sudden, some of that moisture has to come out. It can't stay in the air anymore.
Yeah.
And then if that happens all of a sudden, then you get fog. All of a sudden, part of air, the moisture of it wants to come out, and it comes out in a little bit small droplets. And those little small droplets, when there's lots of them, that's fog, because cloud is little small droplets of water. So how clouds are made is warm, moist air goes all the way up. Up there, look up in the clouds. Up there is cold.
Of course.
Okay, so when the moist air goes all the way up there, when it gets there, it gets colder, and then the moisture wants to come out because it can't stay dissolved in the air anymore. So it comes out and it stays out in little small droplets. And those little small droplets, when you see a lot of them, you see clouds. So the same thing happens for fog. Warm air that is moist all of a sudden gets cold overnight. Usually fog happens right around the morning, or like at night, when the air, warm air, has cooled down all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden you get fog forming. You can actually make fog by going like that with your mouth. If it's cold enough, your moist air from your mouth goes out, but it gets cold all of a sudden. And then the moisture wants to come out of that air because it can't stay in it anymore. So it comes out in terms of fog, in form of fog. When you go like this, you see fog all of a sudden.
Daddy, do it again. I almost saw fog. I
Nope.
saw a little bit.
Well,
I saw a little bit.
You saw, okay. Okay,
Okay.
I think that's enough for today.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question, Maijun.
You're welcome, Daddy.